In order to pass a farm bill, Congress must find a way to appease every special interest of every commodity association, from asparagus farmers to wheat growers. Let's take a look at several other handouts that special interests have reaped into this year's farm bill, which may account for the size of the bill. $15 million to establish a new grant program, $15 million to establish a new grant program to, quote, improve the U.S. sheep industry. We're going to spend $15 million, your taxpayers' dollars, to improve the U.S. sheep industry. The bill authorizes $10 million to establish a new USDA, Department of Agriculture program, to eradicate feral pigs. I've always been against pork spending, but now we're going to spend $10 million to establish a new USDA program to eradicate feral pigs. I know that mothers all over America that have advocated for their children to eat their peas will be pleased to know that there's a study that's going to cost them $25 million to study the health benefits of peas, lentils, and garbanzo beans. $200 million for the value-added grant program, which gives grants to novelty producers like small wineries, and I'm not kidding, the occasional cheesemaker. $40 million in grants from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to encourage private landowners to use their land for bird watching or hunting. $700 million for Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. $700 million for Agriculture and Food Research Initiative, which funds a variety of research grants like testing pine tree growth in Florida or studying moth pheromones. I have no clue what a moth pheromone is. When did it become a national priority to study moth pheromones? $250 million for the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Urban Forest Assistance Program, which spends federal funds to plant trees in urban parks and city streets. A new program that spends $125 million to promote healthy food choices in schools. Now, there are already at least four other healthy eating education programs in this bill already. $200 million for one of my all-time favorites, which is the Market Access Program, which has been there for years, which subsidizes overseas advertising campaigns of large corporations. We have, of course, the infamous mohair wool subsidy, which has been fleecing the American people since 1954. When Congress passed the 1954 Farm Bill, they wanted to ensure a domestic supply of wool for military uniforms by paying farmers to raise, among other things, Angora goats for mohair. This may have held merit then, but nobody today can dispute that mohair became obsolete thanks to synthetic fibers. Today we use mohair in custom socks, fashionable scarves, and trendy throw rugs. Some of my colleagues may recall that Congress killed off mohair subsidies in the 1990s. Unfortunately, goats are reputed to eat just about anything, and our hard-earned tax dollars are no exception. By the time Congress passed the 2002 Farm Bill, mohair subsidies had been restored. The mohair program, which costs taxpayers about $1 million a year, may not be particularly expensive compared to most farm programs. I suppose where some of my colleagues see a minor government pittance for wool socks. This is a disgraceful example of how special interests can embed themselves in a farm bill for generations. As if field corn and ethanol subsidies weren't nefarious enough, this farm bill includes a new carve-out for popcorn subsidies. I'm not making it up, popcorn subsidies. The cooking oil that movie theaters use to heat popcorn is already subsidized, as well as the butter they put on top. So popcorn is doing fine, is the truth of the matter. The price of popcorn has risen 40% in recent years, thanks in part to ethanol, and recent free trade agreements with Colombia and South Korea are creating a boom for American popcorn exports. There isn't a kernel of evidence that they need this support from taxpayers. The Farm Bill sugar program is another masterful scam. The USDA operates a complex system of import tariffs, loans, and government production quotas that restricts sugar imports and keeps sugar prices artificially high. Just yesterday, the Senate voted to table an amendment to phase out the sugar program, which is a sweetheart for sugar growers, deal for sugar growers. Finally, Mr. President, one of my favorites all time is the catfish. I have an amendment which would repeal a Farm Bill provision that directs the USDA to create a new catfish inspection office.